When you're addicted, you hurt the people that you love the most.
People don't realize that an addict is the kid next door.
It doesn't stop, it just keeps mushrooming and getting worse and worse until it just spirals completely out of control.
My life sucks now.
Cory James Palazzi.
So it was July 15th, 2013, and my cell phone rang. My name is Tom. I live with Cory in the sober house, and he said, I'm sorry to tell you that he relapsed.
The neurologist came in there
and
pretty much kind of said, well, we think now he might live, but he has extensive brain damage, and maybe his brain is only functioning at 20%.
Then they had to take him off the life support, and they weren't sure whether his brain was functioning enough that he would breathe on his own. So that was kind of scary within itself, not knowing whether once they turned that machine off, whether he would breathe on his own.
I remember when I woke up at the hospital and I had a tube down my throat and it hurt and I couldn't see anything except a white sheet.
He was always very athletic from day one. He loved baseballs and footballs and basketballs. He played Taunton Little League. He made Little League when he was 9, and he played 4 years in Little League, and he made the All-Stars all 4 years of Little League. He was a really good pitcher and shortstop, really good baseball player, very talented. He was the type of kid that any sport he played, he excelled at. He played on the freshman team at Taunton High, and then when he was a sophomore, he tried out for varsity, and he made the varsity team. He also played freshman football, and as a freshman, he also played varsity. He was the kicker on the varsity team. He was a quarterback on the freshman and JV team and a kicker on the varsity team. Cory was an excellent student all through school. He was always on the honor roll from first grade through his senior year in high school. His sophomore year at Taunton High, he was inducted into the National Honor Society, which was a proud moment for me as a mom. He was always a really good student. He was always a really good kid, never had any behavior issues with him, never had a detention, never had any problems at all with him. He was always really good, never gave me a hard time. His junior year going into senior year, he hurt his shoulder, and he had to have shoulder surgery on his right arm, which was devastating to him because it dashed all his dreams of moving forward and playing baseball in college or professionally. And that is kind of that's the underlying reason for where the addiction started.
I had to get surgery going into my senior year of high school. And then when I had the surgery, I realized that I like the feeling of being on Percocets. So from there, it snowballed.
He went to UMass Dartmouth as a nursing major, and unfortunately he couldn't play any sport in college due to his shoulder injury. And that's where on campus he got a little anxious and depressed and upset of what had happened to him with his scholarships.
My dreams were to play baseball in college, and when that didn't happen, I felt depressed and anxious all the time. And I remembered that when I took the Percocets, how good they made me feel. So then I started to take Percocets every day in order to feel better.
He was going through a lot of emotional things, some depression, some anxiety, and my husband and I weren't really aware of that, only because he wasn't living at home.
I went from pills to heroin one day when I went to a friend's house and he had heroin, and I tried it and it was the best feeling I've ever felt.
We knew that he had a problem with prescription pills, with Percocet and Oxy, and we were trying to deal with that, but nothing prepared us for the moment that we found out he was using heroin. It was Christmas Eve, 2009. Dave pushed the door open and he was in there with a needle.
Doing heroin was me chasing that original high the whole time. Some people call it chasing the magic dragon.
If he was using every day and he was out at, his grandfather's house or out socially or working a job, nobody would ever know. Because it comes a point with heroin where they don't use to get high, they use to get by. Because if they don't use, they're going to get sick.
To buy the drugs, I would pawn stuff from the house. I even pawned all my mother's jewelry and my grandfather's wedding ring. I used heroin to maintain my daily life.
We tried to reason with him. We tried so many different addiction centers. We just tried everything, and nothing worked. And it just gets to a point where you have to realize this is way bigger than we are, and we just needed some professional help. There's so many resources out there for parents, but we weren't aware of any of them. And Dave and I would sit in our kitchen, like, where do we turn? What do we do? I'd never dealt with addiction before in my life. I was ashamed or embarrassed to ask anybody about it. And I don't know, I just felt like it's not out there enough. There's not resources. There's a ton of them, but how do you find out where they are and what's available to you?
A lot of them, when you send them to a short-term thing, like 7 days, 10 days, whatever it is, they're not going to get it in 7 or 10 days. And I think insurance companies kind of need to maybe rethink that about how they deal with this issue.
He has balance issues. He does have a lot of falls. If he moves too quickly or he bends over, he will fall. So he can still walk around and maneuver around and do okay, but he can't see small print, he can't read, he can't use a computer, he can't use the cell phone. I have to help him in the morning when he gets stressed. He can't button or zip. I have to help him tie his shoes. He has problems holding utensils,
Brushing his teeth,
those kind of normal everyday tasks.
He can't, cut his food, or we even have special utensils that we bought.
Yeah, he's
that have
getting
bigger
better with
handles.
those.
He's getting better with
those.
it. But it is a difficult time for him just to feed himself. There are resources out there that you can use, and addiction is something that shouldn't be kept in the closet, hidden. The more you talk about it and you get it out there, the better it is in the end.
Every day I want to help somebody else who might be going through the same things that I am.
As bad as it was, I'm lucky because I didn't hear the words, "We're sorry, he's gone." He lived.
Talk to your family or your friends about it so that you can get the proper help.
Don't think that this could never happen to you, because it can happen to you. And if it does happen to you, don't be ashamed or embarrassed, and just hold your head up high and just get the help that you need for not only your child or whoever the addict is in your family, but for yourself. And there is help out there, and to please go and try to get it, and don't be ashamed or embarrassed.
You might think that doing drugs are going to make you cool, and all your friends might be asking you to do that and everything, and maybe you even try it once or twice and nothing happens. And you might get away with it once, twice, 100 times. But in the end, you know, something bad could certainly come of that. You know, you should stay away from them to begin with, and, you know, they can ruin your life.
Don't do any drugs because you can end up like me.